Education in America. So the first step to improving education in America is improving teachers, and in order to do this, we have created a 4-step plan. Our first step in our 4-step plan is raising teaching requirements and standards. Right now, the standards to become a teacher are not very high under the No Child Left Behind Act, where you only need a degree to become a teacher. And we would change that where you have to be required to get a master's degree in education as well as a bachelor's degree in whatever field you wish to teach. So if you want to teach English, an English degree. Another thing that we want to do is raise the requirements to actually get into education colleges. Rhode Island has already started this revolution, and according to Amanda Ripley in Higher Calling, the state has already agreed to require its education colleges to admit classes of students with a mean SAT, ACT, or GRE score in the top 1/2 of the national distribution by 2016. This just makes it so that the people who actually want to become educators have to work harder, and it creates a more desirable job. Another thing that we want teachers to be required to do is take courses in psychology and actually master those courses. According to John Lucarello, who's the chair of the Coalition for Psychology in Schools and Education, teaching and learning are intricately linked to social and behavioral factors of human development, including cognition, motivation, social interaction, and communication. That just shows that learning and psychology go hand in hand. So teachers really, if they want to be the best teachers and they want to ensure that their students are learning, they need to understand psychology and how their students are going to learn so that they can, so their students really can have the best results. And another thing that we really want to do is implement a national standardized test that every teacher will have to take when they are trying to enter into a teaching position. This will just give schools and administrators an idea of where that teacher is at and if they can perform at a high level. So our second step is to increase desirability. Right now, becoming a teacher, it's not a very desirable position, and we really want to increase that. One way this can be increased is with incentives. And according to Elizabeth Green on the New York, who's writing for the New York Times, she writes, "Incentives are intuitively appealing. If a teacher can make real money, maybe more people would choose teaching over finance or engineering or law, expanding the labor pool. By increasing pay, more people are going to want to become teachers." And something that's really important right now is that the labor pool does increase because a lot of teachers are baby boomers and they are reaching their requirement ages. And so there's going to be a whole new era of teachers that are going to enter the workforce, and we need to make sure that they're fully prepared. And for really highly ranked countries nationally, like Finland, being an educator is one of the most sought out positions. And a foreign exchange student once wrote that as she was studying in America, when she was finished studying to be an educator, she wrote, "Here it's not cool to study to be a teacher. They perceive a person who's studying to be a teacher as a little dumber. Could you imagine being ashamed when telling people you are studying to be a teacher?" And Amanda Ripley wrote that in Higher Calling. So we really want to make sure that becoming a teacher is something that people want to be, and it is more highly sought after, like it is in really high performing countries such as Finland. Our next step is bring in the international professionals. Right now, our education system isn't really working as well as it used to be, so we want to bring in educators from places like Finland and Japan where they have really high educational standards. We could bring in Finnish educators from places to give seminars and to present at education conventions. This will just give people an inside look at the Finnish model. And some cool things about the Finnish model that by law, teaching must give students a 15-minute break for every 45 minutes of instruction. Abby Jackson wrote that in the 4 Reasons Finland's Schools Are Better. And Finnish students also spend about a third of the time doing homework than American students do. So that just goes to show that homework is not necessary for the success of students. So we want the students really to be spending more time in class actually educating the kids so that they're learning, but not having to assign as much after school homework, because that's really not helping. And our last step is creating a trusting, caring, and inclusive environment.
One of the major issues is a lack of trust in the American education system. Students don't trust the teachers don't trust students, and the parents really also don't trust teachers. So we want to instill that there is trust within this system, and by doing this, teachers are really going to have to start caring about their kids. There's a vast majority of teachers who don't care, and so for teachers to actually care that their students are learning, students are going to start filling out semester evaluations for each of their teachers, just showing if these teachers are actually teaching them, if they're learning well from them, if they're actually there to help the students if they're struggling. And this will just give administrators a better idea if teachers are really doing their job. And as right and a quality teacher and a caring teacher, most teachers care about imparting knowledge to students, but the best teachers also care about the relationship aspect of teaching. They take the time to establish a trusting and caring connection with their students, who in turn become more receptive to what's being taught. And if teachers do care about their students and the students respect and trust them, they're going to be more inclined to learn and do well in their class.